Since 2015, HMRC has overtaxed UK pensioners by over £1.3 billion. That is not a typo. £1.3 billion taken from people who did everything right, saved, planned, followed the rules, and still ended up paying more tax than they should have. If you've taken a pension lump sum, even once, you could be owed hundreds or even thousands of pounds back. The average overpayment claim comes in at around £1,040. Some people are owed far more. Now here's the part that most refund guides don't tell you. They'll explain how to stop the overtaxation going forward. What they won't tell you is that HMRC legally allows you to go back up to 4 years and reclaim what you've already overpaid. That's the difference between getting a small correction and recovering what could be a significant lump sum sitting unclaimed in HMRC's hands. I've been covering retirement finance for years, and the number of people who don't know about that 4-year window surprises me every time. Most viewers who contact me think they can only claim for the current tax year. They leave thousands on the table. Not because HMRC is hiding it, but because nobody shows them the right forms and the right deadlines. If you're a UK retiree who wants to keep every pound you've earned, hit subscribe now. I'll show you exactly how this overpayment happens, how to work out whether you're affected, and the specific forms you need to reclaim every penny, including from past years. Let's start at the beginning. So how does this actually happen? How does a straightforward pension withdrawal end up with you paying far too much tax? When you take your first flexible withdrawal from a pension, your provider doesn't have your correct tax code on file, so they use what's called an emergency tax code, usually 0T on a month 1 basis. And this is where the problem starts. The month 1 basis is a calculation method that treats your withdrawal as if it's a monthly salary. It takes your annual tax allowances, divides them by 12, and applies just 1/12 of them to your payment. So if you take £10,000 as a one-off lump sum, it doesn't get treated as a £10,000 annual income. It gets treated as though you're earning £120,000 a year. That one withdrawal, taxed at that rate, can result in over £2,000 of overpaid tax on the spot. Think about that for a moment. You've done nothing wrong. You've simply accessed money you saved over a working lifetime. But because your provider has to guess your tax position, and they guess high, you can end up losing a significant chunk immediately. This isn't rare. According to AJ Bell, £57 million was overtaxed in a single quarter in early 2026. In total, over £1.3 billion has been overtaxed since 2015. The average refund claim is £1,040. Some people are reclaiming 2 or 3 times that, and the reason it keeps happening is structural. The system is designed to collect first and adjust later. Your provider has no obligation to apply your full tax code if they don't have it. They apply the emergency code, you get less than you should, and HMRC holds the difference until you ask for it back. This isn't your fault. The system is designed to guess first and fix later, and it guesses wrong for tens of thousands of pensioners every year. Now, most refund guides will stop there and say, contact HMRC, sort out your tax code, and future withdrawals will be taxed correctly. That is true, but it's only half the answer. Because the money you've already overpaid doesn't come back automatically. You have to claim it. And if you've been overpaying for more than 1 year, you may be able to go back much further than most people realize. That's what we're going to cover next. Here's the part that most videos get wrong or miss entirely. HMRC allows you to claim back overpaid tax for up to 4 years after the end of the tax year in which the overpayment occurred. So if you were overtaxed in the 2022 to 2023 tax year, your window to claim that money closes on the 5th of April 2027. You still have time, but it's not unlimited. I'll be honest with you. I used to think you could only reclaim within the same tax year. That's what most videos and guides say. But I was wrong. A viewer wrote to me about a £3,000 overpayment from 2022. She'd assumed the window had closed. We looked into it together, found the correct form, and she got every penny back. That's when I realized how many people are sitting on unclaimed money they don't even know is still available. So what forms do you actually need? It depends on your situation and which year you're claiming for. For the current tax year, if you've made a partial withdrawal and still have money left in the pension, you use Form P55. If you've emptied the pension pot entirely and you have other income, the form is P53Z. If you've emptied the pot and you have no other income, it's P50Z. For past tax years, anything from previous tax years going back up to 4 years, the form you'll typically need is R40. That's the standard HMRC form for reclaiming overpaid tax on pension and savings income from previous years. Each year is a separate claim, which means a separate form. That last point is important. Most guides assume you're dealing with 1 year. If you took pension withdrawals in 2022 and 2023 and both were overtaxed, that's 2 separate R40 forms, 2 separate claims, and potentially 2 separate refunds. The total could be considerably more than the average single-year claim of £1,040. Knowing which form to use is one half of the process. The other half is actually getting through to HMRC to start the claim, and that's where many people stall. So if reclaiming overpaid pension tax is possible and the average refund is over £1,000, why aren't more people doing it? The honest answer is that most people simply don't try. And it's not because they're careless. It's because claiming back money from HMRC feels uncomfortable in a way that's hard to describe if you've never sat on hold waiting to speak to someone about your tax code. There's a quiet voice in the back of your mind that says, "I should have noticed this sooner. Maybe it's not as simple as they're making it sound. What if I say the wrong thing and they start asking questions about everything else?" That feeling, that mixture of embarrassment and caution, is extremely common, and it stops people from claiming money that is legally theirs. According to ONS data, around 1 in 5 people over 65 don't use online services at all. So even when there's a form available on a website, that route is closed to a significant portion of the people most likely to be affected by this issue. And the phone experience is genuinely difficult. Long automated menus, extended wait times, and language that's designed for tax professionals rather than retirees. If you've tried calling HMRC before and given up, you're not alone. That experience is not a reflection of your competence. The system was not built with you in mind. But here's one way to think about it differently. You're not asking for a favor. HMRC is holding money that belongs to you because their own system generated an incorrect tax code. You're not lodging a complaint. You're correcting an administrative error, and they have a legal obligation to issue the refund once you make the claim. You went to work, you saved, and you paid your taxes. This is money you've already earned. Claiming it back is not a complicated financial move. It's just knowing the right steps, which is exactly what comes next. Let's make this practical. There are 4 steps to reclaiming overpaid pension tax, and none of them require specialist knowledge. Step 1 is checking your tax code. Look at your P2 coding notice. That's the letter HMRC sends when they assign you a tax code. Or check your pension payslip. If your code shows 0T, BR, or contains the letters W1 or M1, you're on an emergency code. That's the sign that you've been taxed incorrectly. If you're not sure where to find your code, you can check it through your personal tax count at gov.uk. Step 2 is gathering your information before you contact HMRC. You'll need your pension provider's name and your policy number, the amount you withdrew, and the date you took it. You'll also need your national insurance number and details of any other income, your state pension, savings interest, or any part-time work. Having all of this ready before the call cuts the time significantly, and it means there are no long pauses where you're searching through paperwork while you're on hold, which never helps. Step 3 is the call itself. I've seen many people put this off for months because they don't know what to say. So here's a simple script you can use. Hello, I'm calling because I believe I've been overtaxed on a pension withdrawal. I was placed on an emergency tax code and I'd like to request a refund. My national insurance number is, and the withdrawal was made from, can you confirm the correct form I need to complete and how to submit it? That's it. You don't need to know the exact form number in advance. You don't need to explain the full tax calculation. You're simply reporting what happened and asking for direction. HMRC will tell you which form applies and whether you can complete part of the process over the phone. If you find phone calls difficult, whether because of long waits, hearing difficulties, or just anxiety, there is an alternative. HMRC's extra support team handles calls for people who need additional help, including older people and those with disabilities. The number is 0300 200 3300, and they're available Monday to Friday, 9 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. Take Margaret, 68, a retired teacher from Leeds. She had 2 small pensions and had been overtaxed for 2 years. She'd been putting off the call for months because she was worried about saying the wrong thing. She used a version of that script above, got through in 12 minutes, and received a £1,200 refund within 3 weeks. Her words were, "I'd built it up into something enormous in my head. It really wasn't." If you've been in a similar position, drop a comment below and let me know. I'd like to know how many of you are sitting on a claim you haven't made yet. Step 4 is completing the correct form. For a partial withdrawal where your pension pot is still open, that's Form P55. For a fully emptied pot with other income, it's Form P53Z. For a fully emptied pot with no other income, it's Form P50Z. And for previous tax years, it's Form R40. You can submit all of these online or by post, and HMRC typically processes refunds within 30 days of receiving the correct form. Now let's talk about what happens if you've been overtaxed in previous years. Not just this one. The 4-year window means that right now, in June 2026, you may still be able to claim for the 2022 to 2023 tax year, the 2023 to 2024 tax year, and the 2024 to 2025 tax year. Each of those is a separate R40 form and a separate claim. If you were overtaxed in all 3, you're filing 3 claims. Let's put a rough number on what that could mean. The average reclaim is around £1,040. If you were overtaxed by a similar amount in each of those 3 years, that's approximately £3,000 sitting with HMRC right now. If that money were in a savings account at 4% interest, it would be earning over £120 a year for you. Instead, it's earning nothing because it's still in HMRC's hands until you claim it. Every month that passes without a claim is a month that money isn't working for you. It's not growing, it's not drawing interest, it's just sitting there. The alternative is straightforward. 3 R40 forms, each covering a different tax year, all available to submit online or by post. If you're not confident submitting online, your local Citizens Advice Bureau can walk you through the process. HMRC typically refunds within 30 days of receiving a correctly completed form. That £3,000 won't come back on its own, but it's there, and it's yours. And before we wrap up, there's one more thing that many people miss entirely, because the impact of an incorrect tax code doesn't stop at income tax. There's a detail most people overlook when they think about an incorrect tax code, and it's one that can cost you money in a completely different area of your finances. If HMRC's records show that your income is higher than it actually is, which is exactly what happens under an emergency tax code, that inflated income figure can ripple into means-tested benefits. Council tax reduction and housing benefit are both calculated based on your income. If your stated income is inflated by a large pension withdrawal that was incorrectly taxed, your entitlement to those benefits may be reduced or removed entirely. To put a rough number on it, if your council tax reduction drops by £20 per month because of an inflated income figure, that's £240 per year. Over 2 years, that's £480 you didn't need to lose. HMRC shares income data with local authorities through real-time information, so the error doesn't stay contained to your tax account. It spreads. The fix is the same as the tax reclaim. Correct your tax code and then notify your local council that your income figure has changed. They can reassess your benefit entitlement and, in some cases, recalculate what you were owed. So correcting your tax code is not just about getting money back from HMRC. It can unlock savings in other parts of your budget too. Now let's bring this all together. Let's keep this simple. If you've made a flexible pension withdrawal, even once, check whether your tax code was 0TBR or included W1 or M1. If it was, you've likely been overtaxed. The average overpayment is around £1,040, and some people are owed considerably more. For the current tax year, the form you need is P55, P53Z, or P50Z depending on your situation. For previous years going back up to 4 years, the form is R40, one per year. You can call HMRC directly, use the extra support team on 0300 200 3300, or complete the forms online or by post. Refunds typically arrive within 30 days. And don't forget, if your income was overstated because of an incorrect tax code, let your local council know. You may be entitled to more council tax reduction than you've been receiving. This is your money. HMRC has a legal obligation to return it once you make the claim. All you have to do is ask. If you're a UK retiree who wants to keep every pound you've earned, hit subscribe now. I release new videos every week to help you navigate retirement without leaving money on the table. Thanks for watching. Go claim what's yours, and I'll see you in the next one.